sustainability is also a buzzword and बहुत सारे लोगों को पता ही नहीं है कि sustainability होता क्या है.
So these are the 3 pillars of sustainability right now: environment, social, and governance. That sustainability skill now has a lot of options to it. Who will be the first people to pick up that sustainability? There are 10,000 reasons for that. He's not getting growth, or he's getting a better package somewhere outside, whatever.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Wisdom Whispers with Abhishek Mittal. Today we are coming up with another fascinating episode where we will be talking about careers in sustainability. Yes, you heard it right, sustainability. बहुत buzzword है, तो इसके बारे में सुनेंगे आज कि क्या-क्या options है इस फील्ड में जाने के लिए और क्या चाहिए होता है इस फील्ड में continuity एक जॉब के लिए, right? So today we have a seasoned sustainability professional who has more than 15 years of experience in the sustainability domain. And he's a senior name in the field of sustainability and has led the sustainability verticals for major global companies. Outside of this, he's also a reading enthusiast. So let's welcome Anurag to the show. Hi Anurag, welcome to the show.
Hello, Abhishek. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you, Anurag. It's good to connect with you again after so many years in person, though we have been connecting on and off. But साथ में बैठ के बात करने का मौका बहुत दिनों बाद मिल रहा है. तो naturally बहुत सारी मस्ती करेंगे, right? But मस्ती करने से पहले जानते हैं कि how's your career has evolved so far?
Okay, great question, Abhishek. My career journey has been very unique, I would say. So, I'm an engineer and an MBA. Pretty unique in Indian middle class, as you can see. So yeah, jokes apart. I started off with my engineering degree. So during the engineering, I was always a good student, like top 5, top 10 in my batch. Good in extracurricular, good in studies, always a forerunner for placements and everything. So I was very clear, single track mind that I have to get a good job. Things worked well. After my computer science engineering, I got a campus placement in a couple of companies and then one off-campus placement as well. So I applied the most scientific way that how to choose a good employer for you, which is WPM, whoever pays more. So I went on and did this. So my first company, I went on with a software development firm. So that was my first year. I stayed there for 1.5 years. I was a core .NET Java developer out there. There I realized that obviously software engineering and everything was core at my profile, but the business side of things was something that attracted me a lot. From there, I decided, why don't I switch to business full-time? Went back to school, did a 2 years full-time MBA, and then again went on in the industry for my business roles. So while I was searching for business role, it was not that easy. So my first job was a startup where मैं जाता था, shutter भी उठाता था, water cooler भी भरता था, सब कुछ करता था. So it was a financial firm where there was some amount of investment research that we used to sell to the client. That was the place where I first time, heard about sustainability or how sustainability is a very core focus area for financial firms. I stayed there for 1.5 years again, and then I moved on to other a consulting support firm again in Gurgaon. So that is where I met you, of course. Again, the profile was majorly into business consulting, investment research, all of that. Again, there I could see majorly in the FSO domain where I could see a lot of fund managers were asking for investment research in terms of sustainability. That it was a very niche field that time, right? People used to, so only very advanced fund managers used to talk about that, okay, we have to bring in a sustainability angle into our fund management. But that was the most initial tries with it.
हाँ, वो मेरे ख्याल से वो एक टाइम था जब लोगों को पता भी नहीं था कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी विल बी सच अ बिग थिंग इन द फ्यूचर, बट वो लोग कर रहे थे और हम लोग उनको सपोर्ट भी दे रहे थे. हमें भी नहीं पता था कि ये आगे जाके इतना बड़ा बज़वर्ड होने वाला है.
Exactly. So sustainability was one of the flags somewhere, and someone who were ahead of their times used to do that. Okay. So from there, then I got hired. So in like one of the world's largest asset management firm, again in Gurgaon, hardcore Delhi, like you mentioned. There I realized that was my actual first place where sustainability, I looked at the underbelly of sustainability. I stayed there for 10 years,
Wow.
and that was the place where all of my sustainability knowledge was built, and we'll talk about it more. From there, I could see that, okay, I was serving one particular client and, looking at one part of the sustainability. And then recently, I moved to this advisory and consulting firm where I'm in a senior role. Now I'm looking at full 360-degree sustainability with a mix of leadership. So that is something which is very close to my heart, and I always wanted to do that. So that's how my career has been so far.
Great, great. So now sustainability, right? Do you mind throwing some light into this? कि होता क्या है sustainability, right? Because हम सब जैसे डेटा एनालिटिक्स एक बज़वर्ड था, फिर एआई इज अ बज़वर्ड, सस्टेनेबिलिटी इज आल्सो अ बज़वर्ड, एंड बहुत सारे लोगों को पता ही नहीं है कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी होता क्या है.
Good question, Abhishek. I would say sustainability is a very broad term right now, right? I can go into the jargons of it, and that's how half of the world deals with it.
Yeah.
But simply put, sustainability is how can you manage a business in a long run? Okay, that is what sustainability is. Keeping E, S, and G in mind, right? So it's a good mix of financial excellence, and then also living up to the parameters of E, S, and G. Now, what are these E, S, and G?
Yes.
Right? So these are the three pillars of sustainability right now: environment, social, and governance. Right? So environment takes care of all the climate-related things, the biodiversity, nature, all of it. Social takes care of all the people-related aspects, human rights-related aspects, supply chain-related aspects, all of that. And then there is governance, so ethics, forensics, corporate governance issues, fraud, risk, analytics, all of this. So what the world has seen is that running a business is not just a play of getting your good top line or good bottom line, right? For a business to be long-term sustainable, you need to also take care of these three pieces in parallel, right? Unless you do that, you won't be able to have a long-term business, right?
Right.
So we have moved on from the assembly line, production line, plain vanilla manufacturing to something where the client value is also required, the environment value, people value, societal value is also required. All of these are things which are expected out of business. Now, all of this has been clubbed under sustainability, and that is where the sustainability field starts. And this has recently started, and we've seen a lot of traction in this field, not just from corporates, but also from other areas of the society, say NGOs, activists, students, everyone.
Yeah, because even governments, मतलब आजकल I recently went to Denmark as well. So Copenhagen, they have a vision of being a net zero city by 2025, if I'm not wrong. Though I don't think so they will be able to meet that deadline, but I think, and a lot of cities in the world already net zero पे पहुंच चुकी है.
True.
So this is not just now left in the corporate hands. It's moved beyond that. Governments are talking about, there are so many conferences जो कि दुनिया में हो रही है इसके लिए, केवल इसके लिए. Lot of people are spending money to just be there, talk about sustainability, कैसे governments, corporates इसकी तरफ काम कर सकते हैं, right? So बहुत सारा focus है.
बहुत सारा focus है. I mean, talking about Denmark specifically, you are coming in from a Europe perspective. Europe is already the hotbed of sustainability,
Yes.
where all the regulations arise.
Yeah.
I would rather stretch it to companies and countries which were farthest away from sustainability. You go to Saudi, Aramco is also trying to get sustainable, right? So oil is their biggest revenue.
Yes.
The new cities that they are planning, Neom and everything, they want it sustainable.
Yeah.
So you can't be in the business and not be sustainable.
Yeah.
That's the scene right now.
Yeah. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone is focusing towards it. As you said, हम अपनी next generation के लिए क्या छोड़ के जा रहे हैं?
Exactly.
So very, very interesting topic, and naturally we will talk more about it. The first thing which comes in my mind when I see your career growth, right? कि जब आपने 100% sustainability के profile में move किया, so what were the key skills or key expectations from you at that point of time? और आज जब आप हायर करते हैं किसी को कैंपस से या कोई पिवट करके 1-2 साल में आ रहा है, तो क्या एक्सपेक्टेशंस होती हैं आपकी उनसे, और रियली में वो करते क्या है?
Correct. So see, things have changed a lot. Like I have been around for 12, 15 years in the field of sustainability. The level of education support that we used to have for sustainability, the level of skill support that we used to have is very different from what we do right now.
Yes.
Right. So when we started, how this came into being, and it is important to take a step back and understand the context around it.
Yeah.
So sustainability, like I mentioned, every business has to be sustainable for it to survive a long-term journey.
Yes.
Right. So sustainability, if people see it as a vertical, I would say it is not a vertical. It is a horizontal, right? So it cuts across business, right? So businesses were running fine.
Yeah.
Everything was going fine. They were making money. They were profitable. From a people angle, also they were doing some CSR for the government perspective, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
From people angle, also they were doing trainings and stuff, and that's about it. So that's how sustainability was seen, right? Now with the regulations coming in and everything going on, what we realized is that individual business departments also need a sustainability lens to it.
Yes.
Right. Say, for example, the strategy department, right? The product development department. If you are developing products for yourself, if Maruti is, developing engines, maybe IC engines may not be required in 20 years from now. You need EV. So if you are going to do some product development, you should have a sustainability expert in your department.
Yes.
Then risk, analytics, marketing, consumer behavior, all of these verticals, the legal side of it, all of these departments individually realized the need for sustainability as part of their business as usual. Having said that, who will be the first people to pick up that sustainability? The people who are in those departments, who have had the taste of all that goes on in that department, and they voluntarily raised hands for it. Right? So I was at that part in the risk department from the asset management perspective. So risk and advisory was one of the things that I used to do there. Banks, financial institutions, they used to go through stress tests. So we used to look at if the credit risk, op risk, market risk, all of this is good for that bank or not. We realize sustainability risk is also another risk that we need to look at now, and not just look at it full time, right? So with my risk skill set, we extrapolated the credit risk, market risk, op risk, reputational risk to the sustainability risk. So we formed across a team, put together our thoughts and ideas that how do you build this sustainability practice, right? I saw the same thing happening in the legal department as well. I saw the same thing happening in marketing department as well. So that's how sustainability was brought to life. Coming to the second part of your question. So from the first part, the takeaway is that you had to be good in your area of expertise, plus you need to have a sustainability lens. That is all it needed to be a sustainability professional back then. Cut to now, what we see is it's a crowded market, right? So I would say it's from various reports, I can say 2025 or 2026, it is going to be a $60 billion market. I'm talking from a consulting landscape. It's crowded now, right? Now you need to realize that what it takes to be into this field, either you are a fresher, okay? So you need to realize that, okay, I need to be in that field, but I have to pick up an expertise in either each of these departments or any of these departments where I want to be in. So if I'm a law graduate, the best thing for me is the climate related litigations, to study all of that, okay? Or any reporting litigation, something like that. Then if I'm a chartered accountant, I need to have the sustainability reporting and sustainability assurance skill set, because reports will be audited and assured from a sustainability lens as well. If I am a marketing professional, I need to know how to place my brand in a more green scenario or more pink scenario. If I'm a engineering graduate, say a software side, so I need to understand what is needed to build a sustainability or GHG estimation calculation software, something like that. So the idea is now you need to first prioritize what you need to do and then build a very hardcore sustainability skill onto it. That sustainability skill now has a lot of options to it. Right? You can take a course, take a full-time MBA in sustainability. It never used to be in my time. So you can have a full-time sustainability MBA. There are CFA courses focused on sustainability. There are GAP courses and everything. So you just marry both of these things and bang, you're ready for a sustainability career.
Yep. I do remember एक टाइम था आज से 5-6 साल पहले जब ये इसने एकदम से बूस्ट पिक किया. Then if you have a sustainability written somewhere in your resume, you will get 10 different calls. कि अच्छा क्या करते हो? बात करते हैं.
Definitely.
Can you help me? And there are a lot of real estate firms उस समय पे sustainability शुरू से हो रहा है. Right? Sustainability is nothing new for real estate firms जो कि अपने asset manage करते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं पर sustainability कर रहे होते हैं. And there are a lot of people जो मेरे network में थे, they had sustainability written somewhere. And they were getting jobs very easily because they were doing so much sustainability activities, as you said, like her department of sustainability hai. So specifically in supply chain, because I come from a logistics industry right now. So logistics में sustainability is such a big thing कि आप कहीं पर sustainably कुछ चीजें procure कर रहे हो नहीं कर रहे हो, आपके वेंडर सस्टेनेबल है या नहीं है, आप जो सर्विसेज यूज कर रहे हो वो सस्टेनेबल है या नहीं है. सो such a important field right now.
Yeah, I would go on and say what AI is to technology, sustainability is to consulting. So if you have your AI in your resume and you are a technologist, you'll definitely get a call. Similarly, if you are in consulting space and you say that you have a view on sustainability, definitely it's a very good eye grabber.
Yeah, great. We have talked about climate, right? Environment. So do you think right now we are thinking about and we are talking about so much about the climate change, climate threat. From your perspective, what exactly is that? And do you think are we taking right steps to manage it or not?
See, all of this came into attention mostly in 2015, like when Paris Agreement happened, and so all of these COPs you would have seen
Yes.
coming up. All of this was brought to the center stage, right?
Mhm.
And that is where the reporting also, the TCFD, which is a dedicated climate-related reporting, came into picture. What you see is that it was in talks for a lot of time, but right now what the industry has done is they have organized it, right? So everyone says, okay, there's global warming.
Mhm.
Everyone says it will have impact.
Yeah.
Okay, Greta Thunberg will also say. Everyone will say. The kids will also say. And then there is emotional side of it when politicians will say that,
Yeah.
okay, what are we leaving for our next generation? Everything. But okay, this is all fact. What is climate change and how exposed are we to it, right?
Mhm.
2015 onwards, gradually we've started to see a lot of scientific evidence coming into place.
Mhm.
Say, for example, scenarios coming in, right? So far, everyone was making up their own scenarios in mind, like soft scenarios. After more recently, what we have seen is scenarios, global organizations, say IEA, NGFS, IPCC, all of these have published scenarios on climate. Okay, that by 2050, 1.5 degree. So if we go through a
Mhm.
path like this, there'll be a 1.5 degree increase in temperature, or there'll be a 2 degree increase in temperature, or there'll be a no increase in temperature. So there are various scenarios available.
Yeah.
All of this has helped us build a more scientific approach towards climate change, right? So this is how we can see that we are lagging behind.
Mhm.
Right? There is something which needs to be done. There is something we are not on the right track. What the governments wanted, and every COP has its own list of action items. Every COP or every government, what they've decided is that, okay, we have our scenarios in place. Then we also have our GHG calculations in place, right? So what are the different emissions that your industry, that your company produces, then your industry produces if you aggregate,
Mhm.
and then your government, your country as a sovereign national, what does it produce, right? So everyone now have that. So we know where is our baseline. We know what is the scenario we are headed to. The COPs decided that, okay, let's have NDCs. Okay,
What is
national defined contributions. That,
okay?
it is going to be 1.5 degree hotter by
Mhm.
2050. How is India helping to reduce it? What is going to be my
Mhm.
contribution to that? That is how we are trying to help that scenario. And then every COP we review it. Okay, India says we have a net zero target of 2060 or 2050. China says, okay, we'll do it 10 years later. That is how we have started to do climate change and analyze climate change. The second part of your statement, are we doing enough? I don't think we are doing enough.
Mhm.
We are not on the right track where we should have been based on the scenarios and the national and the NDCs. We have whatever we were supposed to achieve by 2020, 2024, we have exceedingly failed there. Now, the discussions that I see in a lot of COP and other forums are, okay, how do we mitigate it? So climate change is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Earlier, the idea and the focus was let's stop the climate change. Now, most of the people have realized and understood that climate change is supposed to happen. Why? How do we mitigate it? So mitigation and adaptation, which was the theme for the latest COP as well. Mitigation and adaptation, how do we do that? How do we transition towards a low carbon economy and also see that whenever these climate change happen, the impact on business is minimal or impact on society is minimal. So that is where we are headed. Maybe like some drastic measures happen and we are back on track where mitigation is not the focus, but stopping the climate change is focus. But I personally see we are far from there.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that, Anurag. So now coming back to this particular role, right? So what do you think when people join this role in different forms, maybe consulting, maybe corporate, maybe anywhere else, right? You have already stated different fields like CA ये कर सकते हैं, finance graduate ये कर सकता है, engineer ये कर सकता है. So what are the top 4-5 skills in your mind? What will make them a successful professional in this field?
I would say they should look at two things. One is your domain, and the other thing is expertise. So it's going to be a mesh.
Okay.
Everyone needs to do that. First, you identify what is your domain. So either you are a CA or a law professional or whatever you are, or are you in an apparel industry, fashion industry, agriculture, or what? And then you marry them with your skills. Okay, in that industry, what are your skills? Is your skill an engineering and a science-based skill, or an engineering skill, or is it an organizational skill? Say, I'll give you an example. Say you are in fashion industry. Okay, and then as a fresher, this fashion industry becomes your domain, right? So this is your domain. Now there are two different freshers. One is a person who has engineering skills in apparel industry, right? So he's a chemical engineer, or he has studied whatever. He's like in the materials space. This person has an overlap with this fashion industry by saying that, okay, I'll help my organization build more sustainable clothing. Okay, this is my intersection between fashion and engineering. Right, so I will help my organization build Patagonia and other fashion brands are doing it, build sustainable clothing. So this is how a fresher can look into it. Now the other skill is audit. So your skill is audit. You are a chartered accountant. Even if you're not a chartered accountant, you help the overall big fours or someone to build an audit industry out.
Right.
What you do is, okay, my domain is fashion because my articleship was with companies, Urban Mills and other fashion houses. I will help my firm do a sustainability reporting for the apparel industry. So there may be some nuances in the sustainability reporting for this particular industry, although there are global standards, but every industry will have their own nuances that, okay, BRSR may want for the fashion industry to have an emphasis on their supply chain. Are they sourcing their raw materials sustainably or not? That is how your skill as a CA or an audit will marry with your domain. And that is where you contribute to your organization in sustainability. So I think that is how a fresher can go.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. Again, maybe I will just add into it, like in terms of sustainability, there are a lot of people, engineers specifically, who move into supply chain kind of a role, right? And supply chain is one of the area where I have more understanding on sustainability. This is a field where I think I have been looking at sustainability from last 15 years. It's not nothing new in supply chain field, because how you're looking at your suppliers, as you said, कि क्या suppliers are sustainably manufacturing their product or not. And again, on the side of logistics, क्या मेरा जो logistics partner है वो EVs use कर रहा है to transport my shipment or not. So these are the areas, and as you said, like the people who are getting into this, they need to understand कि sustainability use कहाँ होनी है. And you rightly said, at that point of time when you started, उस समय तो कोई courses नहीं थे. आज तो बहुत कुछ है market में करने के लिए. So people can really get into it if they really want to focus on. आजकल ना हर कोई जो next generation है, they want to be कि अच्छा हम तो environment friendly कुछ करेंगे. So you have so many things. You can't just use this buzzword and go into the market कि अच्छा हम कुछ करेंगे. पहले थोड़ा पढ़ भी लो. So पढ़ाई करनी बहुत जरूरी है. That's what you said. So
No,
go
definitely.
for a
And Abhishek, I would say पढ़ाई भी आपके I mean आपके attitude and aptitude के हिसाब से हो सकती है.
हाँ हाँ.
You don't need to go for a full-time sustainability course also, right? So there are certification level courses also,
Yes.
and then there are courses which are full-time courses also.
Yeah.
So IIM Lucknow has recently started their full-time PGP in sustainability management, right? Then from an engineering perspective, I would say IIT Kanpur and other IITs also have their sustainability course. These are some of the places where we very often hire from.
Okay.
These are full-time MBAs. You can have those full-time MBAs in sustainability from universities abroad as well. And then someone who doesn't want to go for an MBA, he's an engineering graduate, a law graduate, or a accountancy graduate, they can also have their own sustainability certifications if you see. So like I mentioned, CFA has its own sustainability certification. GARP has one, the one that used to do the FRM one. So GARP also has the sustainability certification. And TCFD, again, it's a very popular sustainability certification for in reporting. GRI certified individuals is also there. So you'll get like CDP. All of these things are like places where you can do a sustainability certification and add it on your existing expertise and then move from it.
Okay. You also talked about कि AI जैसे buzzword है data analytics के लिए, वैसे ही sustainability for consulting. If we have to marry these two, right? AI, Gen AI, and sustainability. So what you think there is an impact of use of AI and Gen AI in the sustainability practice, and what you think how it is helping this particular practice?
True. So AI, I would say, is going to take it looks like it is going to have an impact on most of the industries. Sustainability is no exception.
Yeah.
So I would say technology has a knack of bringing together any unorganized problem and make it more organized, right? And that is exactly what sustainability needs right now. So not just AI, I would say sustainability will have its it's already having, and going forward, it will have its interface with all the big tech terms, the big data, AI, ML, AR, VR, everything. Something or the other, sustainability will have a intersection with. Say, for example, data is the key for everything. For every industry, data is the key.
Yes.
The larger the amount of data you have, the more creative you can get with it, right? Right now, given sustainability is a newer kid on the block, data is a challenge in terms of value of the data and the amount of the data, right? How much data do we have about the climate and the biodiversity pieces, say increase in tree height over the years in a particular rainforest? Limited data.
Yeah.
The reduction in the glacier coverage at a very precise location, very limited data, right? Rainfall in particular areas. Okay, you have high level data, but specific on where your assets or wherever your plants are located.
Right.
You don't have a lot of data. Or change in sea temperature, not on major locations, but sometime remote in the ocean, all of this. You don't have data, right? As more and more of such data accumulates from a technology standpoint, because we have better metrics to measure those data or better instruments to measure those data, also just by the passing of time, because the data accumulates, we are doing it, and now we have 10 years data, now we have 20 years data. The more and more data when comes in, you would see that all the tools of big data and Hadoop and all that. I'm not a tech expert, but all of these buzzwords which sound very fancy will come into play. Okay,
Yes.
we now have a critical mass of data with us where we can use all of these technologies. Not just data. When this happens, this will have a ripple effect on other areas as well. The AI, the processing part of it, the downstream part of it, which is AI and ML. We will have more advanced and more accurate climate models. Climate prediction will become more accurate, right? So currently, if you see, either they are arithmetic plain models or maybe econometric model. But when AI comes into play, they will make models which can talk about or predict things which we were not even thinking about, right? Or maybe AI and ML comes into play where you have a lot of data. Currently, companies parse that data manually and then feed into their models. Say an AI can look at 10,000 pages of data or the rainfall data for last 100 years and put it into a model by generative AI or something. That is how more data, more AI processing will come into that area.
But it's still it's a futuristic thing because right now we don't have enough data, right?
Correct.
But that's a good perspective. क्योंकि अभी नहीं है, but going forward हमें चाहिएगा ही.
True.
Because not everything can be done manually.
Correct.
So we'll need some tools, some language, some automation which can give us some good analysis. And we can train those algorithms as well. कि अच्छा ये analysis दे दो, ऐसा होगा तो कैसा होगा, right? There will be different scenarios which we can build over those. Great. So one more thing, one last question, which I think because you touched upon that you do hire people from these colleges and institutes who are providing these certifications. So when you hire people, what you look into it? What are the 2-3 skills which you primarily see? I know you said attitude and aptitude, but outside of that, what you see in when you hire in the hiring process?
So I would say at the end of the day, I come from a corporate background, so my view will be very much corporate oriented. At the end of the day, it's a corporate job, right? So when I'm going forward to hire either at a senior management level or a fresher, the first thing that a person should have to fit into a corporate, 2 things rather. One is problem solving and good communication. Right? So these are the 2 things which are non-negotiable. Problem solving even more for sustainability because it's a new field. Right? If you have a traditional age-old field, say technology, say for example, obviously a lot of problem solving is required. However, there are cases where we have solved a lot of problems already, right? So you can recycle, reuse a lot of them. But for sustainability, I've seen every time we have more problems than what we have solved. Right? So high problem solving capability is something that is non-negotiable. And communication definitely is something which any corporate would need. Having checkboxed these 2 basic requirements, I would say then it comes on what kind of sustainability professional you want to become. I'll come back to my earlier point on E, S, and G. Right? So if you are an E, S, or G, where are you targeting? So if you are targeting a data and analytics role in sustainability, right? You're primarily going to work on the climate-related risk and opportunities, climate modeling, prediction, predictive analytics, all of these. So all of these skills you need to have. Right, technical skills sometimes. The models right now are not that advanced where you will need like too much of AI or ML right now, but basic modeling skills either in Excel or maybe if you go further for Python and other areas. If you are targeting this area of sustainability, these are the things that you will need. Then there are advisory skills that you would need, right? If you are targeting not the data analytics part of it, you're not much of a number cruncher. You're more of a story person, not a number person. If you're a story person, then probably you want to advise your clients on how your net zero strategy should be, how your supply chain strategy should be, how your branding and marketing should be, how your product development in sustainability should be, all of these things. So there you will need a lot of storytelling skills. There you will need a lot of sustainability core knowledge. What is net zero? How to calculate emissions? These are basic skills, right? So you should be very well versed with GHG protocol, different scopes of emissions, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, then various regulations in terms of human rights, supply chain, circular economy, all of these things. But your day at the job will be more advisory. You'll be working more with PowerPoints. You'll be working more with Power BI. All of these. So this is the second type of skill. And the third type of skill, which is again, I would say very core and is very much used, I would say is all the regulatory side of things, where the accountants who will help you audit your reports, or the law professionals who are going to look at the climate litigations and everything. So you need to have skills related to, are you a lawyer? Are you well versed with the climate related litigations or regulations? If you are a CA, are you well versed with how to assure sustainability numbers? How can you provide an assurance statement, audit opinion, all of this. This is something that you would look at. So basic corporate skills, and then you choose your vertical, and then you move forward in it.
Great. Thanks, Anurag. I think we will close this segment here and we'll move to the next segment. Guys, right? Very heavy discussion so far. And जितना भी समझ में आया, right? If you think it's important, it's relevant for you. So do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And do share the feedback if you want to uh, pick up any particular topic जिसपे हम और guest को बुला के और discussion कर सकते हैं. So please don't forget to share your feedback. And now, Anurag, we will move to the next segment. We will not talk about sustainability anymore.
Excellent.
Right. I know that you are a reading enthusiast, right? So any one or two books which you have read and which is very impactful in your career?
I would say, see, there are books which I read, which are placed on my desk and everyone sees them, which are good books. But I am a voracious reader. So I read everything that come my way. So I have a wide range of stuff that I can get my hands on in reading.
Ooh.
It ranges from Raj pocketbooks, Singla ka murder case, to anything which is corporate or leadership related, right? So this is, I mean, I'm mostly into non-fiction books.
So Anurag, let's move to the next section. This is an unwind section where we will not talk about sustainability. बहुत बात कर ली उसके लिए. I don't know कितना audience को समझ में आया होगा, but I'm hopeful that if they want to look at this as a career option, at least they will have some guidance around it कि क्या certifications करनी चाहिए, क्या चीज उनको समझ में आनी चाहिए to get into this. And आजकल ना हर कोई इसके बारे में बात करता है, even I. So just to share with you, like I've invested in sustainability 3 years back. I produce my own electricity. So from the last 3 years, I have a zero electricity bill. So that was my contribution to the sustainability. That is the first step, E, right? Environmental sustainability. So हर कोई बात करता है, हर छोटे steps लेने हैं, I think, so that हम एक environment को अच्छा बना सके. And I think Indian government has recently taken this step कि 1 crore houses को they will subsidize installing the solar system, and I think it's a good small step which will help improving a lot of things. But now we will not talk about that.
Okay.
So we'll move very quickly to the next section. First of all, जितना भी हमने सुना, it looks like you're a workaholic. You work a lot. But when you want to unwind yourself from this work, how you do it?
I would say I'm a family person. Okay. So I'm a family man. I love to spend time with my daughter and with my wife. With my wife and my daughter, travel is something which is very, very close to our heart. So, okay, I have traveled, I would say 6 out of the 7 continents now, mostly due to my job and everything. But yes, travel is something which is very close to my heart. I mean, getting out in the culture and art, places, and then having my family by my side always recharges me. So that is how I like to spend my time.
Okay. Movies or cricket?
Movies.
Do you the one question I have not asked many guests, but do you use any app which help you in managing your day or managing your work, or any app which is different from what people use?
I would say Headspace is one app. It's very close to my heart. Helps you meditate it's a guided meditation app. And that's how it helps me. And meditation, again, I would say is a very core part of my work life. So I make it a point to meditate 15 minutes a day on light days. And on busier days, I meditate for 30 minutes. That's how important meditation is for me. And Headspace is a very handy app there. You will have programs, courses for guided meditation, and also you would see your data being saved, so you can track your progress over time.
Nice.
That's how.
That's a very good suggestion, Anurag. Thanks a lot for sharing that. Couple of more questions, and we will close this segment as well. One advice, if you have to give to 23-year-old or 20-year-old Anurag, then what advice will be that?
I would say, work-wise, I would say in the corporate life or overall, I would say I used to take, I still do take things too seriously. So I have a high EQ. That is what I believe. So I will, due to that internal, what you call locus of control, anything that happens around, I disproportionately hold myself too much responsible. So if there is someone who's leaving my organization, maybe. There are 10,000 reasons
Mhm.
for that. He's not getting growth, or he's getting a better package somewhere outside, whatever. But I would try and make myself understand that, okay, there was bad management there, or maybe I could not live up to his expectations, things like that. So that is something that I've always suffered from, which is something I would like to advise my younger self not to do. Take things light and go with the flow.
Nice, nice. Great. Thanks a lot, Anurag, for sharing that. बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग एपिसोड था. आई नो थोड़ा सा बहुत ही टेक्निकल था. Naturally, this needs technical understanding as well. So that's why very technical. But I think I hope people will get something out of it. So thanks a lot for joining
Excellent.
us for the
Thank you.
show.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you. So guys, this was our episode with Anurag Mangla. Heavy tha, right? But it was required. I see there is a lot of opportunities in sustainability as a sector. So it's important to discuss what it needs to be a sustainable professional. As Anurag said, that you are in whichever field, even if you are a chartered accountant, engineer, a commerce graduate, or even a lawyer, you have so many areas to focus on in sustainability. And just to be, and he's there's one thing which he has been continuously focusing on, that it's a two-way thing. So one, you have to be very much into your technicals. If you're a chartered accountant, if you are a commerce graduate, if you are a supply chain graduate, whatever, right? You need to have your core skills, and then you marry it up with the sustainability. So you need to do certain certifications, or you need to be enthusiastic about it so that you learn new things around it. And then you go into the market and say, oh, I want to be a sustainable professional, right? A lot of learnings. I think if you really like this episode, do like, share, and subscribe. And please, please, please share it with your peers and with your colleagues so that they also get benefit out of this episode. And if you want us to pick up any certain topic, please reach out to us. We are available, and you can reach out to us on LinkedIn, Gmail, and Instagram, and the links will be below. So that's all. I think we will be back next week with another fascinating episode. For now, signing off, Abhishek Mittal from Wisdom Whispers. Thank you.